Have you ever felt so invisible that even heaven itself seems silent toward you? Have you ever lain awake at night, your stomach empty, your thoughts heavy, staring into darkness and wondering whether your prayers dissolve before they ever reach the sky? There are moments when life grows unbearably quiet, when the weight of existence presses so deeply that it feels as though the world has erased your name. Yet it is often in these silent hours, when no one is watching, that a test walks beside you unnoticed, carrying within it the power to reshape everything. This story is about such a moment, when a single decision on a forgotten road transformed a boy's destiny and revealed how faith, kindness, and unseen guidance work together in the lives of those who feel forgotten. Far from busy towns and crowded streets, there was a small countryside village surrounded by endless fields and winding dirt roads. Life there moved slowly, marked by seasons rather than clocks, and everyone seemed to know one another. Yet even in such closeness, suffering could remain unseen. At the edge of this village lived a boy named Ethan, so quiet and unremarkable that most people passed by without a second glance. His home rested where farmland gave way to tall grass and deep silence, as if the village itself had turned its back on that place. The house was barely standing, a fragile structure made from cracked wooden boards and rusted sheets of metal hammered together over time. When strong winds swept across the fields, the walls groaned as though exhausted from years of endurance. During rain, water slipped through the roof and gathered on the packed dirt floor, forming shallow pools that Ethan stepped around with practiced ease. It was not comfort that kept the house standing, but habit and necessity. Still, Ethan called this place home, because it was all he had left. Once, laughter and warmth had filled those walls. His father had been a field worker, strong and quiet, returning each evening with soil on his hands and weariness in his eyes. His mother had brought life into the house with gentle songs and whispered prayers, stretching small meals into moments of peace. Their love had made even scarcity feel survivable. Then sickness arrived without mercy or explanation. It took his father first, slowly and painfully, and not long after, it claimed his mother as well. The funerals were brief, attended out of obligation rather than closeness, and soon the village returned to its routines. Life continued as if nothing had changed, except for Ethan, who remained behind, suddenly alone in a world that offered no instructions for grief. At an age when other children were still guided and protected, Ethan learned what it meant to survive. He worked wherever someone would allow him, carrying water from wells, chopping wood until his hands blistered, helping farmers during harvest under unforgiving suns. Some days he earned a few coins. Other days his reward was a thin bowl of soup handed to him quickly, without words or warmth. Hunger stopped being an emergency and became a regular companion. Loneliness lost its sharpness and settled into something familiar. Silence, once peaceful, grew loud and pressing. Yet, despite everything, Ethan carried within him something that hardship could not steal. His mother had left him words that echoed louder than his empty stomach ever could. In the years before sickness took her strength, she would divide their small portions carefully and say, "Ethan, when you have little, give a little. Do not let hardship harden your heart. Generosity keeps the soul alive. Even the smallest gift, when given with love, is never wasted." Those words became a quiet anchor in his life. When hunger twisted painfully inside him, he remembered her voice. When resentment tried to root itself in his chest, he remembered her gentle smile. He carried that lesson like a small, warm stone in his pocket, insignificant in appearance, yet powerful enough to steady him when the road felt too long. One evening, after hours of labor beneath a merciless sun, Ethan walked home with a small cloth sack pressed against his side. Inside were bread and a bit of rice, barely enough for one modest meal, but enough to ease his worry. His muscles ached, his steps were slow, Yet relief softened his exhaustion. Tonight, he would eat. He chose the path that followed the river, even though it added distance to his journey. Tall trees cast long shadows across the trail, and the steady murmur of flowing water brought calm to his tired thoughts. As he walked, Ethan whispered a simple prayer, not for wealth or comfort, but for the strength to remain kind in a world that rarely showed kindness in return. Halfway along the path, he noticed someone ahead. An old man sat upon a flat stone near the riverbank, leaning heavily on a worn wooden staff. His clothes were dusty and torn, his shoulders slumped as though the road itself had weighed him down. His face bore the deep lines of long journeys and quiet endurance. As Ethan approached, the old man slowly lifted his head. "Young man," he said gently, "I have not eaten today. I have walked far, and my legs no longer carry me as they once did. If you have even a small bite to spare, I would be grateful." Ethan stopped, his fingers tightening around the sack beneath his arm. That food was meant to be his dinner. Without it, the night would stretch long and hungry. The easiest choice was to apologize and continue walking. No one would judge him, no one would even know. Yet inside his chest another voice stirred, steady and familiar. "When you have little, give a little." Ethan knelt slowly, opened the sack, and removed the best piece of bread. He brushed away the dust with his sleeve and held it out. "Please," he said softly, "eat first." The old man accepted it with trembling hands, gratitude filling his eyes. He ate slowly, deliberately, as though each bite carried meaning beyond hunger. Ethan remained beside him, offering water and helping him stand when his legs shook. They spoke quietly for a time. The man asked about Ethan's life, and Ethan answered honestly, speaking of loss, of labor, of the daily effort to remain gentle in a hard world. The old man listened without interruption, his gaze calm and thoughtful. When he was ready to continue, the man placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You have a good heart," he said. "Do not allow this world to make it small." Then he turned and walked down the path, soon disappearing among the trees. That night, Ethan ate what little remained and slept not with fullness, but with peace. At dawn, unfamiliar sounds stirred the village. Horse hooves echoed against stone. Voices murmured urgently. Church bells rang without warning. Ethan stepped outside and froze. In the village square stood a grand carriage, polished and guarded, unlike anything the villagers had seen before. Men dressed in fine clothing moved among the crowd. A herald raised his staff and called aloud, "By order of His Majesty the King, a child named Ethan is requested. Come forward." Fear and confusion flooded Ethan's chest, but he obeyed, stepping slowly into the square. The carriage door opened, and the old man from the river stepped out, no longer bent or weary. He wore robes trimmed with gold, and a simple circlet rested upon his head. His presence carried quiet authority. "You offered bread when you had almost nothing," the king said. "I travel in disguise to learn the true hearts of my people. Kindness given without expectation is rarer than treasure," he continued. "I have no child to inherit my duties, and I seek not wealth, but character. You will come with me, you will learn, and what you receive, you will one day give forward." In that moment, Ethan's life changed forever, though his heart remained the same. Years passed, and Ethan learned not only leadership, but service. He listened to the forgotten, protected the vulnerable, and remembered hunger whenever choices were made. He never forgot the lonely river path, nor the moment when kindness cost him something real. God had not arrived with thunder or fire, but through a quiet test on an ordinary road. And so, if you feel unseen today, remember this: what you do in silent places matters. Sometimes the one asking for help is part of your test, and sometimes that test opens the door to a future beyond imagination. If you are walking a lonely path, keep your heart open. You may be closer than you think to the moment that changes everything. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps more stories like this reach those who need them most. Thank you for being here.